Dirt, the gator eats. Okay. All right, my name is Mr. Sloan, formerly known as AKA the Specialist, because this is what I've taught for the last 23 years. Longer than all of you have been alive, hopefully. I don't have any 23-year-olds in the class, right?
24.
24? Good on you for keep trying, but your parents had issues. Okay. Basically, at some point in your life, no matter where you live, whether it's a gated community or out in the sticks or in the low-end slums of town, there may come a point in your life that a police vehicle, a fire truck, National Guard, or some other such law-abiding type people will ride through your neighborhood screaming, "Get out. You got 2 minutes. There's a tidal wave coming. There's a forest fire coming. There's a hurricane or a tornado." You ain't got time to run through your house going, "Oh, I'm gonna need one of these. I'm gonna need one of these. I'm gonna need one of these." You got 2 minutes to get out. The whole point is build a bug out bag. It doesn't have to be as big as this one. This is a bug out bag. This is a bug out box. Everything you see on this table is a smaller version inside this box. Okay? I'm going to show you some primary things you should have it, and in the second half I'll show you how I customize mine to my personal taste. First and foremost, you're going to need something to cook your food. This is called a Swiss stove. You can find them online, on eBay, on Amazon and stuff for anywhere from $75 to $100. You don't have to spend that kind of money on survival gear, people. I was walking through my local Goodwill and found this one sitting on the shelf for $3. $3 for a $100 stove. Comes with your cup, comes with your water bottle, comes with your stove. Very simplistic. Got a little slot here. You can even hang your utensils while you're cooking. Simple fire. Put fuel tabs, you can put sticks, anything that burns right in this little slot. Light it up, fill your cup up with your ramen noodles or whatever, and set it on there and it's cooking. Nothing to it. It was invented by the Swiss Army. Very simple, old design that's still modern. Okay, comes with it's all aircraft grade aluminum, nice drinking bottle. You can hear something rattling in there. That's where I keep my fuel tabs for it. Keeps them dry. You also see that I packed it with paper towels. Keeps it from rattling in my pack when I'm taking off through the woods, and especially if somebody's trying to follow me or chase me, or Uncle Bob's after me trying to get my goods because he didn't build a bug out bag. Okay? You don't want it rattling around. Plus also, if I'm having an issue starting a fire, I got tinder. Okay? Nothing to it. This is just a little dry bag that I pack with some already dried sticks and fat wood that I find along the way, so I'm not sitting there trying to scavenge through all this wet crap from the rain last night to find something to start my fire with. I can, but why bust my butt when I can make it easy? Alright, y'all know what these are, I'm sure, right? Got sick of wearing them all that time and everything. It's not a COVID mask. Sometimes you may be escaping from a forest fire in a very smoky environment. If you're asthmatic or have COPD or some other breathing issues, you're going to want one of these over your face. Even if you breathe great like a track star, you're still going to want one of these because you're going to be choking on all that smoke trying to get out of there. Okay? Something simple to get you out of an emergency situation. What is this?
Poncho?
98-cent poncho. Don't go to North Face and spend $25 for a thicker piece of plastic that has a pretty logo on it. All you need is something to keep you dry. Now, the thing about a lot of the things you're going to see here is they have more than one use. So you don't want to buy something that only has one use. It takes up all kinds of space. Have something that has multiple uses. There's a poncho. What else can I use it for?
A tarp.
A tarp. Ideas? Come on, get the little brains clicking. Exactly, I could catch rainwater in it. I can use it if I twist it up in a nice string and sneak up behind Uncle Bob and take him out with it, you know. Multiple uses. An emergency blanket. They come in different colors, sizes, shapes, and prices. It's $1. This was $5. It's pretty. It comes in its own little bag that says, "Please don't die in the woods." Okay? If you didn't know that before you went in the woods, there's going to be a problem. But don't waste your money. Buy the inexpensive stuff that's going to serve you well in an emergency situation. It's not going to have to last you for 4 or 5 months. It's going to keep you alive until you can get to assistance And don't think, oh, a tornado came through, FEMA will be here. Yeah, they'll be there in about 30 days. You want to sit on the side of the road with nothing to eat and nothing to shelter you while you're waiting for government help? Go right ahead and be a victim. Don't be a victim, people. Be a little bit smart. It's a cheap $2 roll survey marking tape. If you're in like a tornado situation, or if you're in a different country and you have to evacuate, or a different city that you're not knowledgeable of, take this out every so often, tear a little piece off and tie it to something. That way, if you get turned around and you see the tape again, you know there's not 200 people out there putting tape up. You've obviously turned around on a circle and you're walking back where you just came from. Check your direction and keep on going. All right. First aid kit, just basic, simplistic. Couple of Band-Aids, a little bit of medicine for sore muscles maybe, like, you know, some Vicks Vapor Rub or something. One thing I do stress putting in them, especially because in an emergency situation, survival situation, it's probably going to be very moist out. Band-Aids aren't going to stick. It's a little bottle of this. It's called New Skin. It's a liquid bandage. You just brush it on just like you paint your nails or whatever, you know. Just, I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna burn, you're gonna make funny noises and probably learn new words, all right? But it works and it seals the wound, and that's the important part in an emergency survival situation, is not letting a tiny little scratch get infected rapidly and take you out of the game. This, what do we see?
Super glue.
Super glue, exactly. Anybody tell me what super glue was created for?
Stitches. Like stitching a wound.
It was originally created as a battlefield wound treatment. In other words, to close a gaping bullet hole in your body. It does that. I will not lie to you. I have an extremely high pain tolerance. I once worked for a full week with a broken hip before seeking medical attention. I squirted this on a really nasty gash that I got in the woods one time, and I cried like an 8-year-old girl. Okay? It burns like hell, but it does the job. It sealed the wound, kept it from getting infected until I could actually get the medical assistance. Get you some super glue. Keep it with your first aid kit. All right, on to the basic necessities. First things first, it's usually gonna be what? What's gonna be your first thing you're gonna need if you're out in the open, you don't have a shelter?
A gun.
A gun would be nice, but your main concern is gonna be fire, because you're gonna have to find water and purify it, right? So fire would be your first thing. We all know the trick with storm matches and a Bic lighter, all that type of crap. How many of you's mamas got those scented wax warmers at home, make the house smell pretty and stuff? You know what a scrubbing face pad is, those little circles of cotton that you wash your face with, or if you got bad acne or take the makeup off or whatever. Before mama changes the wax out in that wax warmer, next time say, hang on, grab a couple of your pads, throw it in the wax, let it soak them up, toss them on a piece of aluminum foil, and let them dry. Put them in a Ziploc baggie. These are your own self-made fire starters. I can be standing out here in the rain that we had last night, crack one of these in half and scratch my thumb up and down the edges to rough up the cotton and light it, and it will burn for 15 minutes in the pouring down rain. That's enough to start drying out your tinder to get an actual fire going. Very handy. I have used these, everything I show you, I have used and personally tested. I have used these on the Peace River trip with 60 students in the pouring down rain to get a fire going for them. Everything was wet. And you made it yourself and didn't spend a fortune. It's hard to see, but these are Brillo pads. You know, those little wire scrubbing pads like your mama cleans the pots and pans with at home. I'm sure she's probably got some under the sink. Ask mama before you start stealing all her Brillo pads to build your bug out bag. Take the Brillo pad and don't take the battery out of your smoke detectors at home. Find you a 9-volt battery at a different location. Take the 9-volt battery, touch it to the Brillo pad, and it looks like little red tracers running all through the Brillo pad. It is actually on fire. You can then add paper or small tinder on top of it and it will start a fire. Like I said, you will see little red tracers running all through it as soon as you touch the battery. Therefore, don't lay the Brillo pad in your hand and touch the battery to it. You will be trying to find a way to extinguish your hand. Okay? Don't do it, not good. Next item, anybody tell me what this is? Any ideas? Looks like just chunks of little metal pieces, right?
Magnesium.
Exactly, it's magnesium shavings. This is very flammable and it burns at a temperature of over 2,500 degrees. You can light this in the middle of Noah's flood, okay? If I take a pinch of this and put it on the hood of my truck and light it, it will melt through the hood of my truck and through the first half-inch of the top block of my engine, thus ruining my engine. Again, I must stress, do not put a little pile of this in the palm of your hand to light it first and then lay it down. You will look just like Jesus. Be looking through the hole in your hand. I know what these are.
Magnets.
Close, not quite. We're talking about fire. What is it? Little
Flint.
pieces of ferro rod, flint, basically. And they have holes drilled through them so you can tie them onto your zipper ties and stuff of your clothing whenever you're taking off. Or tie them onto the zipper ties on your bug out bag so you got one with you. Take a knife blade, scrape it against the edge of it, and it throws sparks into whatever you're trying to start a fire with. Simple things. You can even build a little fire kit down into a nice little Altoids box so you don't have all that crap stuffed in your bag. It's all right here. I've got a little bit of the magnesium, a little Brillo bat, 9-volt batteries, everything. Where's my ghost hunters? What is this? Spiritualist, anybody?
Sage.
Exactly, it's sage. It's when all these so-called mediums and stuff burn and let the smoke fill the house up to chase the evil spirits out. You know what it chases out?
Mosquitoes.
Any biting insect. Throw this in your campfire. Mosquitoes will leave you alone. The biting flies will leave you alone. The biting gnats, the no-see-ums, all of them will stay away. This stuff is killer for bugs. Excellent stuff. So we got the fire. Next step's gonna be water. You can go the old school route. Simple handkerchief set up in a series of 2 or 3 to filter the water. Is it drinkable? Potable? No. You'll filter all the big chunky things out, but you still have to boil the water, or there's a good chance you could pick up protozoa and bacteria in your stomach that will make you violently sick while you're trying to survive. That's one thing you don't want to mix together. So you can use these to filter all the big chunks out of the water so you're not like drinking grits, but you still have to boil the water. Yes, I was a 60s child. I like the tie-dye stuff, okay? You can go a little bit newer school. This is what we used to use, the water tablets. Put one tablet in and shake it up, let it sit for 15 minutes, then you put another tablet in and shake it up, let it sit for another 30 minutes, and it tastes like you're drinking your mama's jug of bleaches on the washing machine. But it's safe to drink. You can also use your mama's bleach in proper ratios to purify water. It's supposed to be like 4 drops of bleach for a gallon. Don't screw up and use 4 drops of bleach for a quart. You will burn the insides of your mouth with the acid in it. You can go more modern, which is the current thing. This is called a Sawyer water filter. This filters down to 0.02 microns. Basically, it gets all the crap out. I can take my water bottle down to the lake, well, regular plastic bottle, and fill it right down to the lake, screw this on top, and drink it directly through this filter, and it's clean and safe to drink. You can use it on a bottle, you can squeeze bag, whatever. It's the same thing, only it's an inline version. You can hook a bag with a tube to the top of it, and it's a gravity feed. Put a bag down at the bottom to catch the clean water so you don't have to stand there and squeeze it or hold it. Set it up so it's filtering water in your camp area. You can also put these in your Camelback lines, direct inline filter if you're unsure about the water you're filling your Camelback with. Build it right into the line so you know it's filtered and safe to drink. They come in all forms. This is a Chinese knockoff of what's called the Life Straw. I have personally used these and it filtered it. I drank directly from this lake and did not get sick with it. I'm not gonna do it every time because there's a chance that it may stop working. It doesn't come with any instructions or estimates on how much water it'll filter. So I've used it 5 times now and it's worked all 5 times and I'm pushing my luck every more time I use it. I highly, can't say enough. This is an actual Life Straw. They're about $12 to $14 for a single one. If you and your family are gonna build bug out bags, get one for each person. If properly cared for, the directions are on there. You got to back flush them and not let them freeze, not lay them in the sun. If properly cared for, this life straw will filter up to 100,000 gallons of water. You think you drink 100,000 gallons of water in a week? Or month? 10 years? I've got one of these that I opened up actually in 1988 and I still use it. I've got others, brand new ones, but why throw away something that's working good, you know? With proper care, that's the whole thing. You have to take care of your equipment. Let's see, next up, we're gonna do lighting, because you're gonna be in the dark at some point. Don't go out and spend $20 for military grade luminance sticks and all. It's a fancy name and a high price for a dollar store glow stick. This does the same thing, maybe not quite as bright as the big military grade that they call them, but it's sufficient. It lights up what you need to see, and it lasts for about 8 hours. You know, spend $1. Keep the other 24 in your pocket. Just because it says Bear Grylls on it, don't mean crap other than the fact that he's fake and it's junk, okay? All of that is staged. Don't believe what you see watching them TV shows. This little light right here, just a little headlamp. I bought this before Hurricane Irma hit by about a month. Hurricane Irma wasn't the last one, it was the one back in 2017, okay? I activated it, because you gotta pull a little piece of plastic out of the battery to activate it. I activated it during Hurricane Irma, and I've used it multiple times since, and I've never changed the batteries. And it's still a very bright little headlamp. What did I pay for it?
$5.
It's Ozark Trails from Walmart, people, 99 cents. Didn't have to go get some big expensive thing. Got a couple of them here. If it ever does die, throw the damn thing out and use the next one, you know? Light doesn't have to be special, light doesn't have to be big. Light can be, if I can get the can open, almost microscopic glow sticks. I can use this in a little 4-man tent and see everything I need to see in the dark. Little tiny things. They're actually designed to use on fishing bobbers for night fishing, but they serve their purpose in your bug out bag. Cordage. Can't push it enough, cordage. Cordage, rope, string, whatever you want to call it. Cordage. It's my terminology for it and most other people that are in the profession. Don't go out again and spend $25 on military grade 550 paracord. This is Walmart grade 550 paracord. They're the exact same thing, but Walmart doesn't say it's military grade, and Walmart charges you $3 for a 50-yard hang. That military grade will charge you $20 for a 50-yard hang. It's the exact same thing, people. It's braided poly rope. It's got the exact same number of filaments inside of it. They're all just as strong. Never had it break at all if properly knotted, you know. You gotta know how to tie a knot. This is $3, like I said, all of these, $3. This is poly braided rope from Walmart, $2. You'll see later in the demonstration, I've used this exact rope to build the lean-to back here that withstood the storm and all the water that's sitting on top of it. If you don't want to carry that, you can always go into the flower design lanes at Walmart. $2 for 200 yards of floor wire. Very strong. You can use it for setting perimeter alarms around your camp. You can use it as a garrote on Uncle Bob. You can use it for cordage to set up your camp and shelter. You can use it to build snares and traps, which you'll see in the later portion of my class, to catch small animals and anybody trying to raid your stored goods. Okay? Simple thing, $2. You don't need to go spend a fortune on rope and wire. What are these? Zip ties work great as cordage too. And if you catch Uncle Bob with his hand in your cookies, you can use these on Uncle Bob.
Handcuff.
Yeah, well, handcuffs or just strap him to the tree before you throw rocks at him. They come in all sizes and shapes. Handy to have if you need them. We've done the water, we've done the fire. This, we were talking about a perimeter alarm. These, you can get like 12 boxes of these off of Amazon, I think, for like 10 bucks. They're Chinese pull string firecrackers, okay? Little, what you'd think like a party favor, like those little things that blow the confetti everywhere. But they have a string on each end. You either take some wire or some fishing line. You make a trip line all the way around your perimeter when you're camping, about 6 inches off the ground. Anything tries to come into your camp, it's gonna hit that trip wire, and it's gonna hang on to the string. It's pretty loud, isn't it? That's gonna wake you up if you're sleeping. It's gonna let you know Uncle Bob's coming after your goodies, and you're gonna get up and take care of Uncle Bob before he gets to your goodies. Simple little thing to wake you up. Bear trying to walk into your camp, hopefully it'll scare him off. If not, it at least wakes you up and gives you time to prepare to get your butt chewed up and eaten.
No.
Y'all have eaten MREs at one time or another, right?
Yeah.
What's this? They're in the MREs. A lot of people guess that they're napkins.
No.
Right idea, wrong end of the body. It's toilet paper.
Toilet paper, yeah.
If you're in a survival situation in the wilderness, your house was knocked down by a class 5 tornado or something, and no telling when you're gonna get back in shelter, and you gotta live in the woods, and you start wiping your butt after day 3 with a handful of leaves you pulled off a bush and didn't realize it was poison ivy, poison oak, or poison sumac, and your booty is blistering, you're gonna wish that you had packed some toilet paper. You're gonna actually be on your knees crying, praying for a jetliner to fly overhead and explode just so the roll of toilet paper can drop into your hands, okay? Toilet paper. You don't think it's very important until you're without it. And trying to figure out why your butt's blistering. And it's like you didn't pay attention in herbology class and learn what plants you can wipe your butt with. All right, moving on. We've got the wire. The wire again. Like I said, it can be used for multiple things. These little devices are called auto fishers. You will see them in use also later along here, but basically it's like a yo-yo, but it has a trigger mechanism that I can set, and then when something comes along and bumps the noose, it trips the trigger and pulls the wire tight around them. So I can put this over a little rabbit trail or small game trail in the bushes, and when I come out in the morning, Peter Rabbit didn't get to deliver his eggs. Okay? Use them for catching wild game. You can also use them, just set it up over a body of water, put a hook and some line on it, stick a little grasshopper on there, and when it's out in the water and Mr. Fish gives it a little yank, it sets the hook and Mr. Fish is hanging there when you come back to check it. You don't have to waste your time holding on to a fishing pole. You set this and go about building your shelter or starting your fire, and then you come back and check it later and get your dinner right off the hook.
I have a question about the automatic fishing thing. How much weight can it hold before it won't?
Well, it comes with a pretty solid twine string already installed that I've caught 6 and 7 pound bass on. And, you know, I wouldn't try to use it for tarpon fishing, but, you know, for lakes and ponds and whatnot, it's pretty good. I think it'd probably hold up to about a 15, 20 pound catfish with what's on it. You can actually take them apart if you're a little bit mechanically inclined, or you can take the twine off and install like braided fishing line and things like that on them. It's just a big spring mechanism, that's all it is. It has a trigger.
Thank you.
Be careful though, they are illegal in some states, so don't just go out in your backyard and set a couple of them to fish with. I mean, they're great for survival. Nobody's gonna question whether they're legal or not in a survival situation, but I don't wanna see you setting them in all your neighbors' backyards down the canal, and I don't wanna get that phone call, okay? What do I have here? And if anybody says condoms, you're gator bait.
Slingshot.
Come on, exactly. Personal defense. This is a slingshot. This one is set up to shoot crossbow bolts, arrows. It's got a whisker biscuit, is what they call it, this little thing here. You stick the arrow right through there, pull it back, and you can shoot arrows out of it. If you don't want to shoot arrows, and you don't drop your crap in the mud all the time, you can just shoot 3/8" steel ball bearings. These will kill a rabbit at 25 yards with no problem. Kill a squirrel, They can make your neighbor go back in his house with a really bad headache and probably bleeding profusely from the one lodged in his forehead. They can take out Uncle Bob, and they can also hurt your little brother or little sister. Again, I don't want to get a phone call that you purchased one of these slingshots and told your little brother Timmy to run across the yard. Okay? No experimenting on siblings or neighbors. And you can package the ammo up in a nice little can too, so it's not rattling and making noise or crunching around in your bag. These are the basic things. These are needs that you're gonna have some use for in your survival situation. Like I said, all of this stuff right here fits in this one bag, including my stove. All of it goes in this bag. This is my small bug out bag. I've got a much larger one at home in my bedroom closet that has a few more tricks, trades, and gadgets attached to it, up to and including a 12-gauge shotgun that can fire everything from .22 long rifle up to 12-gauge rounds on it.
Put that in.
You can also put a few chemicals in it to make a nice big boom. Don't do that. Don't play with things unless you know what they are, okay? Also, you want a tarp. Just a cheap one, doesn't have to be anything fancy. I mean, you don't have to have it, but it's nice to have it because mostly it fits right down in the back of your backpack and everything else packs in front of it. And you got something to catch water, you got something to build shelter, you got something to throw dead Uncle Bob on and drag the body clear of where you killed him at, you know. All sorts of uses, multiple uses. Why would I have one of these?
Fishing.
Louder.
Fishing.
Fishing's one idea. Anything else?
Storing items.
Storing items. Disposing of Uncle Bob in pieces, you know. No, you can also split them down the seam and stretch them up between two really tall sticks if you have low-flying birds, like seagulls and stuff like that. It'll snag them. It'll tangle them up with their claws and their feathers, and you can go pick them and pluck them and eat them. You can also use it if you kill a large animal and you cut and clean and gut it and everything. Prepare the meat with a good salt rubbing, put it in the bag and suspend it in the tree, and that'll cure your meat for 3 or 4 weeks with no refrigeration. Your meat won't go bad. The salt keeps the flies from laying maggot eggs on it. And you got beef jerky hanging in the trees for 3 to 4 weeks with no refrigeration off an animal you just shot and killed, or stabbed, or jumped on and strangled, or however you took it out. Maybe Uncle Bob, you used him by the ankles and beat the animal to death with it. Another little item. If you look closely, you can see the remnants of my last Peter rabbit that I caught in one of my snares. Just a little grill top. I mean, my stove works great for boiling liquids and stuff like that, but it's not a real wide cooking area. I take this, I lay it across a couple of rocks or a couple of logs. I can throw whatever meat or whatever fish I got right on top of the grill and cook it and eat it. It's like $1 at the dollar store. Nothing expensive. Now, I have talked about the bug out bag and how we're gonna take out Uncle Bob. It doesn't have to be a bag. It can be a bug out box. A smaller version of everything you see on this table is in this can. Don't believe me? Here's one you can look at later on before you take off that is open and has all the various items in it in smaller quantities. You can make a bug out box a little bigger. You can make a bug out box a little bigger. Customize it, whatever you want to do with it. Just remember, you're the one that's going to have to tote it in an emergency running situation. See the big black and yellow box in my truck? Right there behind the front seat? That's my bug out box that stays in my truck permanently. I run off the road in one of these Stephen King movies into a snowbank somewhere, and I'm stuck there for 8 months with some crazy lady busting my ankles with a sledgehammer. I got everything I need with me, except somebody to shoot that crazy lady. Any future Marines here? Got a snack for you. These are crayons, people. It's handy to have in your bag. You can use them to mark your way on buildings or on trees if you're lost and trying to find a path. You can also use them in an emergency situation by standing them on the end and lighting them on fire. It is about to a 15-minute candle per crayon, and these really cool designs when it melts. You can sit there and go, wow, especially if you ate the wrong mushroom. Something else I like to personalize my bug out bags with. What's that one say on it? H?
H.
What do you think it is?
Hi.
It's a hammock. It's a mosquito hammock, to be more specific. Has a bug net on it and everything. String it up anywhere. What's this one say on the end of it?
L. T.
T. What do you think T stands for? Tent or tarp over top of my hammock to keep the rain off me. I string my hammock up, I run a line above it, string the tarp over and stake it down with some sticks I found, and I've got home. That's home, man. Keeps the weather off. I can crawl in there, keeps the bugs out. I can cook underneath it if I have to, out of the rain. That's home in a bag right there. Anybody have any clue what this is? No, it's not a strainer for when you have kidney stones.
That's the water strainer that goes over top of it.
I can take this when I have my tarp strung up over my hammock, and I can clip it to the edge of the tarp and put an empty water bottle on it. As the rain drips down my tarp, it drips into the funnel and it fills my water bottle up with potable, clean drinking water. I didn't have to do anything more than screw a water bottle and hang it on the edge of my tarp. Nice little things to have, little gadgets. And like I say, everything I'm showing you is like 25 bucks or less, and I'll tell you if they get any more expensive. This is one that got more expensive. This is one I'm currently trying out and experimenting with. I just got this a few weeks ago. First off, it's made in China. It's a water filtration device. You put a hose here and a hose here. You stick this hose down into your nasty muddy lake. This hose goes into your clean bucket. And you sit there and do this for a very long time because it has such a tight filter in it, it doesn't move a whole lot of water. Basically, it took me almost 15 minutes to fill a 1-quart jug, sitting there pumping it like this for 15 minutes. It works. It cleans the water, totally potable. Just a lot of work in it for not a great amount of reward. So you have to pick your things based on that too. Is this something that's quick and easy, or something that's going to take me half an hour while Uncle Bob sneaks up behind me and garrotes me? Okay. Again, I can't stress it enough. What do we have? Guesses.
Oh,
Water
oh, towel, yeah. Towels that expand when they get touched by water or whatever.
Similar. Toilet paper. Again, little tiny dots. All you do is put a drop or two of water on it, and it unfolds into a sheet the size of 2 paper towels. If you can't wipe your butt with that much, you got issues. Okay? Toilet paper in all different forms and packs to carry. Something else I personally throw in, it's an empty peanut butter jar, plastic, not glass, full of crushed charcoal. You'll see one of my water filters in the second half of this class and why you need the charcoal. Excellent water filtration material. Okay? You can find it on your own. Just find any old campfire and get the burnt, charred pieces out and sit there and crush them on a rock. But you're in a survival situation. Why not have it pre-made ahead of time? You're gonna need something to eat. These things used to be really affordable, like $3 or $4 a meal. Last time I was in Walmart, they're up to 12 bucks a piece. I'm like, $12 for a meal? I'm like, Peter Rabbit's cheaper than that. And I can make a meal and slippers out of him. You can also go the hardcore prepper's way and get a Daytrex survival bar. These are approved by the U.S. Coast Guard. That gives me great hope. That's like saying Joe Biden approves them. I had to throw one political comment in there. Come on. The thing about these is they serve multiple purposes. They will keep you alive. They will break your teeth. They can be used to knock out Uncle Bob and totally incapacitate him. You can use these 2-pound nails. In other words, do not take one of these out of the package and attempt to bite a chunk off like you're pulling the pin on a grenade in a John Wayne movie. Break a piece off with a hammer or a rock or whatever you got that'll break it, and soak it in a little bit of water. Or you can break off a small enough piece, put it in your mouth, and suck on it like one of them Willy Wonka everlasting gobstopper things. And eventually, it'll reach the consistency of dried grits, and you might be able to chew it and swallow it. It is extremely nutritious. It will keep you alive if you can figure out a way to get it from outside your body, inside your body, comfortably without causing any major damage, causing you to have to seek further medical attention. All right, what do we got here?
Duct tape.
Duct tape, quack quack tape, like us crazy people like to call it, works in a myriad of situations for all sorts of uses. However, it does have one nemesis:
Water.
water. If you don't already have it stuck to something in a moist situation, it's not going to stick. You can use it for other things. You can make it into cordage. You can, slap Uncle Bob up against the wall and tape him to the wall and then throw darts at him and whatever you want to do that way. But duct tape's best friend and backup,
Electrical tape.
electrical tape. This stuff will stick across a gaping, bleeding wound. It can stick in wet situations. It can stick in pretty much any weather: snow, sleet, hail, raining cats and dogs, Uncle Bob falling out of the airplane and landing on you. But it also has another use. It's very stretchy before it breaks, right? I have another form of cordage here if needed. I can also twist it a little bit, and it's an excellent go too. Okay? Multiple uses for simple things that you think, well, it's electrical tape, it'll stick in the water. Never thought to use it to strangle somebody or make it into cordage and, help tie my shelter up. Now, small things. You're gonna be bored. You're not gonna have a lot of power and stuff like that. Your Game Boy ain't gonna work, or whatever the current thing is you guys play with. You're gonna have to learn to actually play with a real deck of cards to keep yourself entertained while you wait. Okay? Pick up a cheap deck of cards and throw them in there. You don't know, there's going to be a lot of damaged items out there. You might stumble over something and sprain your ankle. Throw a cheap ace bandage in there in case you got to wrap your own ankle to make it to the aid station. Again, like the mask down there, these dollar store swimming goggles. If you're in an escape from a forest fire situation, very smoky environment, put these on, put your mask on, and you can run like heck to get out of there. And while you watch the guy next to you run right into this pole and fall down, and you can go, damn, that looked like it hurt, and keep on running, and you're not smashing into stuff, okay? You will need eye protection in a smoky situation. Basic cheap thing. This is a little tiny button compass. It doesn't attach to anything. I keep it in there. If I lose my direction and can't tell where the sun and the stars are, I pull my little compass out and I can find my way. For like 50 cents. Solar power, people. I cannot stress it enough. If you're looking for anything to power anything, your lighting or whatever, solar power is the way to go. Unless Marvin Martian flies up there and blows up the sun, and then we're in permanent darkness, and then we're all screwed anyhow, because all plant life will die in a matter of weeks. Solar power. These are cheap little $2 things you can buy at Walmart that you got on your multi-million-dollar home stuck on the wall to light the walkway up to the front door so you don't trip and fall on your fat rich face. $2. Throw it in your bag. Throw it out in the sun. When darkness comes, you flip the switch and this will light the interior of your tent or your shelter or whatever. And it's rechargeable, doesn't need batteries as long as you got a source of sunlight. You can get tiny little panels like this with micro USB, USB-C. You can get them that hooks up to Apple phones and stuff. Solar power to keep your crap charged that you're gonna need. Don't carry a big battery pack around if you can avoid it. Solar lights. Plug one of these panels into this solar light, lay it out in the sun, and it's fully charged within an hour for the full night's use. I've got one of these hanging in my tent. I've got one hanging out in front of my tent. They work great. They have, high beam, low beam, and then you can cause Uncle Bob to go into epileptic shock and kick him in the swimming pool and throw in a load of laundry and kill two birds with one stone, What do I got here? Garbage bags. Am I that much of a litter freak?
No, it's to keep them dry.
These got multiple uses. Let's talk about them. Somebody tell me.
You can use that as a poncho.
Used as a poncho.
Keep things dry.
Keep things dry. You can split it in half and stretch it between two sticks and build a temporary shelter out of it.
Gather water. Gathering water.
Gathering water.
Cover someone's face so they don't know where they are.
Put it over Uncle Bob's head and pinch it tight around his neck until he stops wiggling. All sorts of uses, okay? Solar power. Solar power. Hi, how are you? These are called Lucy lights. It's basic, simple little solar powered lantern. You blow them up and they're about that long. I'm old, I'm not gonna blow this up in front of you because you will laugh at me running out of breath trying to blow it up. It's not that difficult, but you can. But it has a little button here, solar panel. So again, you just lay it out in the sun and let it charge during the day. And then when you need light at night, you push the little button and you got light. And it lights up the whole damn room. Is really bright when you blow them up. But it's got different mode and light settings. Again, make Uncle Bob spaz out. You can even signal with the little red light, which is seen much better in darkness by rescue parties. Solar power, solar power, solar power. I was thinking solar power, I want a way to create endless solar power that I don't have to keep setting something out in the sun every hour to charge back up. I took this little 10,000 mAh battery pack that has a solar panel built into it. So as long as this is in the sun, it's permanently charged. Even if I'm charging something off of it. It's got 2 outlets here. I can plug my cell phone or whatever in. And I thought, 10,000 mAh, that'll charge my phone maybe twice before I have to let this fully regain a charge. And I said, you know, I'd really like 30,000. Well, this is what 30,000 mAh looks like. It's a brick. It's heavy. I mean, you could use this to beat somebody to death with. You don't want to be toting all that extra weight. This whole thing is actually lighter than this brick. It's a $2 pencil box I bought at Walmart, and I put a 20,000 mAh battery pack inside. But it doesn't have a solar panel. Well, how am I going to keep that charged? I ran a cable from it out the side, and I plug it into the solar panel on top. So while I've got this sitting in the sun, not only is my 10,000 mAh battery pack staying fully charged, it's keeping my 20,000 charged also. I ran a cord from the 20,000 out also that I can plug something in without having to open this up. I can charge 2 or 3 items at the same time and never have to move this. So, I Frankensteined it. All right, we're in the state of Florida. What's in the state of Florida, people? Bugs. I'm sure you've all tried a couple different brands of bug spray and stuff. Look for anything that says at least 40% DEET. And you're gonna hear all the alarmists going, "Oh, DEET causes cancer. Drinking coffee causes cancer. Breathing the oxygen when you're walking down the side of a road with cars going by causes cancer. You could probably fart and cause cancer. I don't know everything, but pretty much everything causes cancer in massive quantities in lab rats. Use it. It keeps the bugs off. I've been using it. I'm 61 years old. I've used it since I was in Cub Scouts, and I don't have cancer. I might get cancer eventually, but I don't have cancer. My body's going to fall apart otherwise, but that's a different story." Excuse me. Let me squeak around this side here. Sorry, you're going to have to stand up. Little tools you're going to need. Y'all know what these are, right?
Yes. It's a 10 and 1. That's a plier, but
It's a plier, but it's a multi-tool. It has screwdrivers, knife blades. Get a cheap, simple one. You don't need the high-end ones that say Bear Grylls on the side of it or anything that costs a fortune. These are like $8 at Walmart. Okay? Simple things. Oh, God. Anybody know what this is? A saw. Hand-powered chainsaw. As long as you don't have spider monkey arms, you should be able to use it. Okay? But it takes a little strength. This will cut through a 4 to 6 inch branch. This will take Uncle Bob's head off. You know, don't put it around your neck like this and go, "Hey buddy, let me show you something," because you'll take your own head off. It is extremely sharp. It is very good at its job and what it does. And it packages up by simply rolling up into this little tiny pouch. And that's all you need, and you've got a chainsaw with you in your emergency bag. My grandson actually found this for me when I took him to Universal Studios. Anybody know what it is? It's one of those pocket fans, okay? But it's USB rechargeable. I can plug it into my little solar panel and charge this thing up, so when I'm taking a break, I can sit down and get a little breeze on me and help cool me down quicker. Okay? Simple, easy things that have run off of solar power. No batteries required. Again, solar power. I can plug this into one of my solar panels down there or a battery pack. And I've got another fan that keeps going. I'll set this up inside my shelter to keep a breeze going through my shelter so my shelter's not all hot. Y'all hungry or looking for something? Pay attention here. Come on.
Sorry.
Stick with the class. What do I have here? Anybody know? Come on, guys.
Knife.
Knife.
A knife. What kind of knife?
Pocket knife.
Throwing knife.
Oh.
That's about it.
It's a throwing knife. I'm not saying put throwing knives in your backpack. I mean, you can if you want to.
For a
You
game.
practice, get good with them. I can actually take a rabbit out within 15 yards on the run with a throwing knife, but I've been practicing with them for years. The main reason I carry these is not to throw, but if I need protection, I can get a pipe or a stick or a pole and split the end and put one of these in it, and I have protection. Maybe I was in a single engine plane crash and I don't know where I'm at in the woods. Something saw you fall and something bigger than you might be hungry and want to come looking. You want something to protect yourself with. I can keep it at bay with it, or I can run it through and kill it and eat it, whatever. But you need some form of protection. I'll put this back over. And also, if you noticed, when I put it in the stick and laced it up, I run the laces through the handle. Sir, I thought you were waiting.
Sorry, I'm trying to stretch my shoulder.
Getting
out.
the flies gone, right?
Yes, sir.
Anyhow, I run the rope through the handle.
I had to close my mouth.
Why would I do something like this when I'm building a stick? Ideas?
So it doesn't fall off.
Yeah.
Not just so it doesn't fall off, but if I make a bad throw and I hit a rock or something and it knocks the blade out of the stick, it's still attached to the stick. I'm not digging through the brush trying to find that black blade laying there somewhere. I just find the stick and pull it out and the blade comes with it. Again, don't go home and build one of these and tell your little brother or little sister to take off running across the yard. Do not practice on live animals. If you want to build one and practice with it, get you a sheet of plywood somewhere out back away from everybody else with no chance of ricochet or anything like that. Be conscious. What do we have here? A stake. It's just an extra long tent stake. They work best on my tarps like I use on my hammock because the tarps catch a lot of wind. These go in the ground a little deeper so they hold better than just those little pegs like you put in your normal pop-up tents. What else can I use it for? Uncle Bob comes up behind me or in front of me, you know, and if my neighbor takes his shirt off and he's all sparkly in the sunshine, I'm taking care of him before the sun goes down because I'm not having no Twilight episode here, okay? One thing I will stress, when you are purchasing protection or clearing your way items, don't skimp on spending a little extra on them. Get the good steel. Don't get the cheap $2 Walmart machete that'll bend in half the first time you hit a coconut tree with it. Spend a little extra money. I had a friend of mine that does forging and blacksmithing build this for me. It's got a built-in tree saw blade also, so I can use it to saw branches off, as long as I use common sense and don't grab it like this to try to saw branches off. And where'd my fingers go? Okay, it is extremely sharp. I can almost shave with this thing. It's got added weight to it, so if I need to chop up a small animal, it'll take it with no problem and bust through the bones, and I'm not sitting there trying to cut a chicken apart and breaking my wrist in doing so. Spend a little extra money on it. What's this? A shovel, an e-tool that your probably great-grandfather carried in the war. It was also known as the, oh damn, I'm out of bullets. When they run out of bullets, they'd pull this out, and it's got enough weight, and it's got some sharp edges that it can be used for self-protection also. It's got a shovel on one side, a pickaxe on the other. I used it to build one of the pits out here that you'll see later on in demonstration. I get some sort of shovel, and again, these are like $10, $15 in an Army Navy store. You can find them on eBay for maybe $20, $25. Not that expensive. It's got some weight to it, but you're gonna like that when you get to using it. You get one of those little cheap ones you see online that are like aluminum and compact, and the first time you try to dig a little cat hole to do your business in, it bends in half and you're really messed up then.
Sir, the machetes, where would you get those?
I had that one custom made by a friend of mine, so you'd have to shop around, but I've seen good quality machetes like that at some of the flea markets and stuff. They have booths set up that specialize in blades and things like that. So yeah, don't get the $2 Walmart one that you can use like a fiddle bow and it'll bend like that on you, because that's exactly what it'll do. It'll bend up. Oh, I was talking about blades. This is my baby I had custom made for myself. This is Matilda.
It's a
I
nice
have a
name.
lifetime guarantee on her. If she ever gets loose, rusty, or dull, or breaks in any way, shape, or form, my friend will fully remake the entire knife. He will not just repair one. He will make you a whole new knife. It has a good weight. It has an excellent pommel. I don't have to stab you. I can beat you to death with the hilt of it if need be. That helps when you're preparing your dinner and crushing things up and stuff like that. It's also good to have a big blade, because if I do take a deer or something, I'm not going to sit there with a little tiny pocket knife trying to skin and gut it. This is my baby. There's only one. You can get one that looks like it, but not this one. That cost me about $200 to have that custom made. So spend a little extra on your steel. Any questions? Any thoughts,
No, sir.
concerns, comments from the peanut gallery? So you're all perfect survivalists now, right?
Not yet, sir. A little bit of
Okay.
practice.
I go, we're gonna take away all the food and drink from you, get ready to go.
Yep. Like I said, this is my small bug out bag, but I would suggest starting off small with a small backpack or something like that. Or you could even start with just a simple plastic tackle box. Something that in the event of an extreme emergency, like I said, you're not running through the house going, I'm gonna need one of these, and one of these, and one of these. You run through wherever you keep your emergency bob at, you grab it, and you're out the door. You're safe, you have what you need to survive, even if your home is completely destroyed, and you're not sitting on the curb starving to death waiting on FEMA to come out and give you a box of government cheese. Okay? No questions. Are y'all awake? Breathing, pulses? Who wants to feed the alligator? Arm or a leg?
Leg.
Yours.
Yes.
We'll
We're
talk
gonna
about
skip
that
leg
later. All right.
Arms.
My assistant over